You know, whenever I talk about hip mobility, most people's minds immediately go to this, or maybe even this. But the main thing I mean when talking about hip mobility is actually this: being able to sit comfortably on the floor without falling backwards, without your knees being all the way up at chest height, and being comfortable. Even more so, being able to sit upright with both legs extended in front of you without having to lean backwards. Now, believe it or not, this is a skill a lot of people are missing, and there is one specific exercise that we can take through multiple levels that is absurdly effective in getting us that required hip mobility, the pigeon pose. This is one of the variations, and today I will be taking you through all of the most important pigeon pose variations and working our way up to very advanced ones, and being able to get into a split and a pancake fold and whatever position you desire will be a bonus of this progression. So we can advance our hip mobility as much as we can with just a single exercise. So if you're ready, let's go and have some fun. Now, since we want to make this as beginner friendly as possible, we're gonna grab ourselves a yoga block or any sort of elevation will do. You can even use a book if you are one of those readers. And to get started, all we want to do is step forward with our left foot in one line with our right knee, bring both hands to the ground. You can set that yoga block up, and now all we want to do is bring our knee down sideways to the ground. Now you might already feel a stretch in your glutes as well as the outside of your leg musculature. And what's really important here, we're not just passively sitting around, we are actively pushing our hips down by flexing both our glutes as well as our hammies and our spinal erectors to get that nice opening in our hip joints. Now, if you do not feel any sort of stretch from here, then you can start removing the elevation and get into level number one, getting our leg completely down on the ground, upper body fully extended, pushing our pelvis down. Now, to advance to level number two, all we need to do is get down on our elbows, and we're putting a little bit more pressure on our hips as well as the surrounding musculature. Now we have a little bit more of a stretch, and we can just relax here for half a minute to a full minute. If you want to, in between sets, you can release that stretch before you get into the same position again. And the amazing thing about the pigeon is that you can actually stay very long in this position, very relaxed. You can use it when watching TV. Heck, you can use it while you're working on your phone, and you can enjoy not only having a stretch, but basically working on your mobility without too much effort. Now, once you're really comfortable on your elbows, the next level is extending your arms, and now we want to bring our head and our chest as closely down to the ground as we can. If you can lay down all the way, that would be absolutely amazing. If you can't, over time, try and adjust and move forward and forward and forward. But don't just release yourself. Listen to your body. If you have any pain, especially in your hip, knee or ankle joint, it is time to get back up again and take some pressure off that joint. Once we are down here, what's really nice is that we can do the tiniest bit of swaying. Swaying to the left and swaying to the right. And this is gonna help us add a dynamic aspect to this movement. Not only does it feel really amazing opening up our hips, but it also helps us advance a little bit faster than if it would be doing only static holds for longer periods. Now, once you are very comfortable in this laying down position, chest down to the ground, now we can start adding some lumbar and some thoracic rotation to the movement, releasing tension in our back, which is gonna help us release tension in our hips as well. If your left leg is the one we're leaning on, you're gonna grab your right arm and we're gonna thread the needle, as I call it. Bring your shoulder down all the way on the ground and put your hand flat. Now we already have the tiniest bit rotation in our lumbar spine. Now we're gonna use our left arm to open all the way up, adding even more rotation and moving outwards as much as we can. Not only are we working on our spinal mobility in conjunction with our hip mobility, but we're also stretching the tiniest bit in our pecs and on our frontal delts, which is an amazing bonus to have in general. Open up all the way. Hold it for 20 to 30 seconds before you release. If you want to, take the pressure off your leg before you move back into the pigeon and go for the next rotation. Now, up until now, we have been very beginner friendly, but it's time to advance a little bit more into dynamic pigeon folds. So we're gonna stay in our pigeon position. This time our hands are behind our head. We're actively pushing our hips down. And all we want to do is fold forward slowly in a controlled fashion with our back as neutral as possible. Bring our face down to the ground. Put all of our weight on our leg before we slowly get up again and actively push forward. Now we're lengthening our hip flexor on the right side, as well as working on our lower abdominals, stretching them out a little bit, strengthening our posterior chain before we move in again, putting a lot more weight on that front leg and getting up all the way. Now we have added a strength and control aspect to our flexibility work, making it more of a mobility routine. Now, if you remember, we talked about the difference between flexibility and mobility, with flexibility being your muscles' ability to stretch and lengthen, while mobility being the ability of your joint to take a muscle and a joint through a longer and longer range of motion, meaning that mobility is a combination of flexibility, strength, and control. So now that we're working on our dynamic pigeons, we have a lot of control, we have a lot of strength, and we have a lot of flexibility aspect as well, making this more of a holistic workout. And now it's time to advance even more by working on an elevated pigeon. We're gonna take the same leg, we're gonna put it right here. As for the elevation itself, we're aiming for our knee and our foot being at the very least at hip level or slightly higher. So now we're gonna hold here for 20 to 30 seconds. Once more, statically, just relax into it. Take a couple of deep breaths, because now with the next level, we're gonna add some strength. Once more, making it more of a mobility exercise. Both hands on our leg, pushing it down, and with the back leg, we're gonna extend, rolling forward, and then slowly backwards again. It's a very short movement, but we're working a lot on our hip rotation in the left side. We're also lengthening our hip flexor and our quadriceps on the right side, helping us let loose of tension in our hips. Very careful with this one. Extend, move up, and reverse, release. You can take a short break between every repetition, just like so. Maybe lay down here, and then go for the next round, which moves us to the next level, which is way more advanced. So only do this level if the last couple of levels were at the very least a little bit more comfortable, because what we're gonna do from here is extend our back leg. Now we're gonna go into internal rotation in our hip, just like so. Extend your leg before we bend again, and then very carefully bring it down and bring your right knee down. Once more, extend your back leg. Stand that leg up, extend it before we bend once more and put it down all the way. Here we are, extend, stand it up, extend, and slowly reverse. External rotation in our hip joint, internal rotation and extension, external rotation and bending, internal rotation and extending, and back here again. We're gonna take a short break, which brings me to our final level. Not only do we have a much higher elevation, but we're also elevating our back leg, which means that now we can go with our knees much further down than we would be if we were on the ground. This is gonna push our leg much higher. Now our foot is at stomach or even chest height, depending on how low we can go. And then we're gonna push up here, strengthening and stretching, strengthening and stretching as low as you can and as high and as much forward as you can. All the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up. If you're scared of cheating, get your hands to your head, get down all the way, and now you can even get your elbows down as much as you can, getting into spinal flexion and all the way up into spinal extension. All the way down, all the way up, extension, down, flexion, up, extension, down, flexion. Now you can use this progression to advance your hip mobility immensely. Just start out with the lowest level. Check out how much you can progress. Maybe you can start out at level 4 or maybe level 5 or even with the elevation. Just be very careful not to hurt yourself, but you can pretty much stay in that position for a very long time, just letting all the tension melt away and then maybe repeating it again for a second or third round. But with that said, sadly, that's all the time I've left for you today. However, if you like the video and subscribe and check out other videos on this channel because we literally have new ones every single day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Captain Cairo, peace out.